Hello there, good morning to you and wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to the latest in our series, second of course, of the latest series that we have for you, Climate Talks, a group or a series of thought-provoking conversations focusing on harnessing the actions of international partners, policymakers and also civil society in driving climate action. And indeed, we are live on the Joy News channel. We are live on our sister station, Asempa 94.7 FM. We're also enjoying a great deal of support from our partner station, Jubilee Radio, here in Keta, which I'll be telling you much more about. But don't forget that your most authoritative channel, the Joy News platform, is equally being supported by the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany. And that's how come we're able to bring you climate talks. And I'm stressing on the German Embassy and the German people because they have supported us all throughout the period. That in spite of geopolitical developments, the German people have indeed made climate talks a part of their internal brand, driving their foreign policy, which we need to definitely commend. But once again, we welcome you to Climate Talks, and this is where we say we're starting off another journey here in the town, as we like to call it, the waterbed haven, Keta, where we are. And I believe it's one of the very key areas that needs climate action, which we'll be delving much more deep into as the conversations unfold. But I just want to specially welcome you if you're watching us at home or right here in the hall, and if you're excited to be a part of this journey that we're starting this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Blair Soga, and I welcome you specially and also urge you to give a round of applause as we commence our engagements for this morning. Yes, indeed, we also want to make this conversation very inclusive, and that's why I'm happy to be working together with my colleague Xavier Selassie, who is with us also in the audience, and will be interacting with them. For the benefit of those who may not be able to speak the English language, we want to make this as inclusive as possible. Selassie, let's wrap it up for them whilst we kickstart our conversation.
Climate talk wana ji la Keta nation training la fi goji kaba climate wana anya wana toke kana ko fa taroji ngwenye ba nya allan kuda khama fa totro nguchi alle kana nya atamu awe ba ma agblan wala nya fu afo kana mionto nya bel nya dokyo domia wa demia jamia adangbele akuda angu kwa wanaya ala live la join news ika Germany alo German embassy wawe $1 wanaya ikaba wanaya ala live la Asempa FM na ma Kenya Jubilee Radio na atangu asamianko ikaba jadudo anya kai kana akuda angu gadangu la afigoji agba gaka amatoke ado ha wo alamia doma ay makabo haba mi adaje shi ala ba nanya ba ayelia atali ne da susu ya ta nyapa adufia na Keta togbi James Okulu atonlia ala mia doma agba ikaba mia ada ko ne toke ikaba la nyapa afio papajika togbi gachiko analia ikana atogjalu ko pa yaha ala mia bo afigoji ka Hanua Kenneth bina ikana chua buchakopa ala mia doma mama tokome ikana cho anyako yaha ala miabo agba anana maka togbi lamani agboza yaha ala miadoma agba ka la wanama adonwo nola vovovo o ala miadomi amayo kana echo nyapa jojoma foku nyaojipo do fakleto kata wo ali nyawezo va climate talk pa onajela Keta mutuama.
Yo, Selassie, come out with and just as we're saying, of course, we're just wrapping up the summary of why we are here and acknowledging some of the dignitaries that we have in our midst. Of course, we are equally expecting, since we're talking about matters relating to the Volta region, we're expecting the Volta regional minister himself, the Honorable James Gunu, to join us. We are expecting that soon he should be joining us with his delegation. Also with us, specially for today, is the head of development cooperation at the German Embassy, Franziska Javens. Thank you so much for joining us. And indeed, we are happy that the German people are supporting us in this cause of drawing climate action and to, of course, build community resilience as well, given the fact that this very community suffered back in 2021, which is the incident of the tidal waves that we've been hearing about. We'll be going into details and explaining to you what exactly happened and what kind of action we would require from the community and also international partners, as well as policymakers, to just try and build resilience in our community. So we'll be getting into it shortly, but as you can also see on the stage with me, I have some people who have great insight into why we are here today. They in fact know about the community itself, Keta, and they'll be able to tell us what they've been doing in their own small corner to support that resilience program, and then we'll get to hear from the policy makers. I'd just like to introduce them, then we hear a few words from our international partners, the German embassy, and then we kickstart our conversation for today. We're live on the Joy News channel, and there are so many people watching us at home. If you want to be a part of the conversation, just feel free. If you're watching us, send us comments. We're streaming live on Facebook. It's at Joy News on TV. We're on Joy Prime as well. We're on Asempa 94.7 FM. And we're also enjoying some support from Selassie and his team at Jubilee Radio. So we're 360 if you want to call it as such. But let me tell you about my guest. I have Joel Kofi Dagwe. He's, of course, with the Center for Natural Resources and Environmental Management. A round of applause for him. Of course, if you hear the center's name, it tells you how much work they've been putting into climate resilience and also making sure that we are effectively managing our natural resources. Joel, it's good to have you here with us. There's one man I'd also want to introduce, because even before the start of our conversation, he was giving me a sense of the history of the community itself, Keta. And that's why he's the Dumega of the area. Please, a round of applause for Divine Kojo Jokoto. You're welcome, sir. We can't do this without also acknowledging some state institutions. And that's why I'm happy that we have Mr. Godknows Blebu, who is the Keta Municipal Director for NATMO, also joining in the conversation. Because when these matters happen, they are the first port of call. We always rush to them for relief items. So it's good that they are also joining us here just to share the story with us, so we build resilience together. And you, my audience as well, if you're excited to be here, please, one more going out to you. A round of applause as we commence our conversation for today. And just as I've said, we're grateful to the German people for supporting us, because in spite of all the international geopolitical developments, they're still finding time to make climate talks as part of their foreign policy. And that's why I'm delighted to welcome now Franziska Jabens, who I introduced earlier from the German embassy, to share a brief word with us. You're welcome. Please, a round of applause for her.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, dear dignitaries, dear representatives of the local government, of the chieftaincies, dear dancers. Thank you so much for this wonderful opening of our ceremony today. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear representatives of business, science, and especially dear community members. I see that a lot of you have come today. I'm very, very happy to see this room almost full. The format of the climate talks is a brand of German foreign policy in order to bring the discussion, the promotion of the nationally determined contributions to a local level. Why? Because those issues concerning climate change adaptation, they are discussed pretty much on a global level. They are discussed pretty much on a national level. But the consequences of those policies who have to be implemented, they are bared on the local level. Communities like yours, like the Keta community, you are direct under the influence of climate change. We have heard about the tidal wave in 21. That was the year where I arrived in Ghana. I have visited your beautiful community so many times, and even me myself, who is only in the country for 4 years, I see the erosion happening to the coastal region. I hear about how people lose their homes because of the coastal erosion, but also livelihoods, the socio-economic development of the region is at risk. So this is why I think and I can see it's a topic that concerns you all. And I'm very happy that we as the German partners at your side, we can't maybe offer solutions to climate change problems here in the region, but what we can try to do is we can contribute to create a platform for a dialogue between those who decide on the national level, those who implement those policies at the local level, to hear your voices, to bring your voices up to the national level, to the intermediate level, in order to foster a real engagement about what is possible for your community when it comes to adaptation measures. We will hear a lot today. We will have vivid discussions. Me personally, I'm very interested in hearing the voices of the community members, in hearing your experience. Please share it. We are here to give you a platform. This is why we came to Keta. We could discuss a lot around NDCs, not the party, but the nationally determined contributions in the capital in Accra. But we are here today to listen to you, to make this platform a platform for you, to let us know what your solutions and your ideas would be. We believe in Ghanaian solutions for Ghana and beyond. Thank you so much and enjoy the morning.
And we're grateful to you, Francisca, and the German people. That is indeed the unique selling point of climate talks. Grateful. Selassie.
Yeah, German embassy. Amadodo Kananya Francisca Jarvis about adakwa tohi kaba enya monko kokula dadana yo the German people ba yo adolo climate talk ba wana alaba nanya ba alankuda alekana khama pa totro ikananya goglomba nya climate change akoko afuda mea apanu blepo wa asubo ba viento a yento ye makaba yo asanya akuda kata bala apa gologia wa alekana atsafwa akoko ama adame ye amopa unoma shio na namaka mopa do yakulato womachima anya kai kana afida yomba togbaba yo aba Germania to alo German to na yo matangu achi angu ha yo atangu na mon popo tokema ba agbai kana ala amawongu amayo kana jinwo jojomro agbama ya wasi akwe akoko adado na maika aweba wa ado amayo kana dodo womda miafa wona onwa wa do wogbo ikaba wakwe adado na ma kuda nuyo tututu emi atanwa awanwu na maka ha yo jiba yo asem miafa agba aba amayo kana jinu ya jojomro na ye ale kana mionto nye ko vulami le miapa amoviongu amoswewungu a ye wasem miapa agbama yata anya jijokle dadana yo Germania toba ye wa adolo wana ya nguto imakaba ye mokomba jadodo na anya kai kana ayiji la agbalaba ye kpomoba ye nyagara segacho mionto miabo yata wana ya ajiyim live la Joy News Joy FM Asempa FM na makenya Jubilee Radio yata nenya ba elapma alona miakpom amyanko sama oha atangu ado susuda to badashi ododo rama gaka ha na mia ayiji a amagadaro gala mia do mai kaba mia ko dajashio ikaba mia ko monko mia adakpa na togbi panya atolia ekana anya duto na anglo yeha ala mia do ma agbaba ya anoje dodo yama.
But if you're not aware of what unique challenges the people of Keta have been facing, 2021 was that date where, of course, many were displaced. Over 4,000 of them, we understand, as a result of the very high surges in the storms and tidal waves, which has affected and continues to displace a lot of people. But let's get into the detail and hear about the story. I want to start with God Knows, because you work with NADMO. You have that experience of what has been going on in the community. Share that experience with us and how the nuances are in terms of the challenges you face and how you overcome them in working within communities such as Keta.
Thank you. I must say that when it comes to disaster in Keta, it's a serious thing. It's a thing that when you sleep and you hear a noise, you will wake up. Especially those who are living around the shore. Because any time that the sea gets rough, we suffered. Now, Keta is so vulnerable to all kinds of disasters. When it comes to tidal waves, Keta is in trouble. When it comes to rain, Keta is in trouble. When it comes to windstorm, Keta is in trouble. When it comes to lagoon floods, Keta is in trouble. So this makes it that everybody in Keta, whether living at the shore or living at the lagoon side, is very alert when it comes to disaster issues. And I must say that working with people of Keta, as far as disaster issues are concerned, is excellent. Because they know what it entails to be a victim of any kind of disaster. So for that matter, any time that you go to them for anything that is related to disaster, they are ready to offer their help. Now, the 2021 disaster that occurred was one of the biggest that happened recent times. But you know, when it comes to Keta, from things that we read, the sea erosion started from 1903 to date. And as we are speaking, about 2021 communities from Keji down to Keta has washed away into the sea. So the last one that happened was the one that being the second biggest one that I've seen. And it was so devastating. You see people crowding in various houses because as a department, NADMO, we don't have equipped safe havens where we can keep the people. So the other time, because of goodness of people of Keta, some people offered their houses, for which we kept the people, community centers, churches, and so forth. But the places, since they are not made for that purpose, it creates a lot of inconveniences for our people. But regardless of that, they all cooperate and everything went on successfully. I must once again say that Keta people, I echo.
Thank you. But of course, we cannot leave out the story of Divine, because Divine, you've helped a number of community initiatives. You've supported that, even the maternity ward that was newly constructed. You were part of that process. But when it comes to coastal resilience and this issue about the tidal waves, can you share practically how you've been leading your community to build resilience in the face of these challenges?
Thank you. The first thing I would like to say is I would like to congratulate the German embassy, the ambassador, the white lady with us, and greatly Joy FM for bringing this program to Keta. Because what I've learned is that experience is the best teacher. We, the people of Keta, have experienced a lot in this erosion matters. What I would like to say is, when it comes to erosion, I'm telling you, we the people of Keta in the communities, there's nothing we can do because it's nature. We only listen to the advice of the experts, especially when we were young. Our parents listened to our chiefs. I remember Togby James Okru IV. He led us, when I was just about 8 years, to Voja when the sea destroyed that road. Our parents were working tirelessly. They became very tired and hungry. And that is why they sang this song. Togbile dole devio woman, Togbile dole devio, meaning Toby, your subjects are hungry. So I thought the only thing we did was to listen to our leaders. The only problem I have with the community at times is we don't have people coming to educate us what to do scientifically. It is only our leaders who teach us what to do. What I know when I was very young was in about some 70 years ago. When I was young, I was 4 years at that time. I'm sharing it because I want to, especially a white lady, to know what we went through. And so God, you are a son of the soil, to go. My mother, that 1956, they were doing some voting. I don't know which type of voting it was. She took me to the market. When we came back, you know, in those days, we don't have this boogie dancing. You have to go and learn how to dance. We have wars, ballroom game, and so on. So my mother prepared a very nice dish, not knowing she will be leaving us in the room and she'll be going to dance. She left us in the room and left for that dance that day. When we were on bed, at dawn, I was feeling happy because the bed, you know, I was small. It's no shame to me. I used to urinate on the foam. We called Bailey at that time. So I was given a local bed to sleep on, mat to sleep on. Before I realized the mat was getting colder and the sleep was getting sweeter for me. So at a point, the urine was too much for me, so I decided to get up and piss in the piss spot. It was then I realized there is water in the room. The water got full to the bed that it soaked the bed. That was making me happy rather in sleep. Our foam was wet. What happened? It was a sea erosion. There were about 4 tree houses in front of us. So that night, that dawn, when the sea got rough, it came to our house. When I saw this, I called my elder sister. Sister, something is happening. Before she got up, the whole room was flooded. The sea too brought enough sand to cover the door. What will it do? We have to shout. In those days, we don't have these burglar proofs. We have what we call langa langa. So we have to force it out and get her. 3 days' time, the sea eroded all the houses there. A whole community, within 3 days. I have the records here. I have the pictures here. I'm not saying it from the records alone. What I saw was what I'm telling you. There's nothing we can do. All that we want you people to help us do now. Today's world is scientific. Anything you think is better for us, that will save us from the sea erosion, we leave you to.
Right. One more time, please give it up for Divine. And that is where I want to hear from you, Joel. The scientific means by which we can solve this. But if you are listening to Francisca carefully, she was talking about the need to build local initiatives, the Ghanaian solution to our challenges. You've been studying, the activities within the community. What can you say about practical steps that can be taken to solve, to build resilience without compromising international standards?
Thank you very much. I also want to seize the opportunity to thank Joy News and the partners, the German Embassy, for bringing this to our doorsteps. And I want to thank the community that have made it to this place to support us. Truly speaking, our forebears might have set foot here over 500 years ago. And they have built a body of knowledge how to cope with this environment over the centuries. And I think that was and is what has kept this community up to the time we started seeing this devastation. So that body of knowledge that our forebears have built in this environment, this ecosystem over these centuries, I think is still relevant to the forward march of solving these environmental issues today. So, but when we look at our laws as a country, most of the laws that we have on environment, climate change, energy, water body management, resource management, most of them do not take into account this rich and wealthy body of local indigenous knowledge. So, if you see some of the laws that I want to touch on briefly, the national determined contribution, which is as a result of the Paris Accord, about 34 contributions that Ghana wants to make to reduce carbon emission by 2030. Most of them do not consider the local knowledge to be embedded in these contributions. When you look at the National Adaptation Plan framework, also it lacks an inclusion of this body of knowledge. When you look at the National Climate Change Policy itself, we have about 8 laws. I won't have time to go through. Yeah, the Environmental Protection Law, the newly amended one, which replaced the previous Environmental Protection Act. You know, when you look at it, together with what we have gone through as a country, I believe strongly that this local knowledge that has stood the time should find at least a portion of them into our national laws. And but very unfortunate, we seem to marginalize our local knowledge. Now, so when we come to this point, how to marry scientific knowledge and indigenous traditional knowledge, I think we need to start validating this knowledge. See the import of this traditional knowledge over centuries that our people have used and have kept this environment almost intact until the recent climate change issues started happening. We also need to engage the community, the owners, the possessors of this knowledge, which has been transmitted to them over centuries, generation after generation. So there should be this deliberate attempt to bring together people in our community, the elders, the traditional rulers, in order to tap into this knowledge. Yeah. It's rich. It's indeed rich. If you start doing a bit of research on Ghanaian indigenous knowledge, you see valuable.
And since you're talking about that, let's build into it then, because we've seen the national response through the Sea Defense Project, for instance. Yeah. How do we incorporate local knowledge then to build resilience? Okay, thank you.
When you see the national response, either they are doing groins, which are the sea walls, or they are doing a revetment, which runs parallel to the coast, or they are doing what you call breakwaters. Yeah. On a sandy coast like Keta, nature has been this sandy. You need to work with nature and get the sun to replace the one-away sun. If you come and build rock structures on a sandy coast, we are denying the people that resource, the sun. So the latest knowledge is that you use nature to solve natural problems. So on a sandy coast like that of Keta, which is dredging sand from the sea and to replace the lost sand, is the natural way of solving.
I see. Great point that you're making, and you see that the audience agree with you. So, Mr. Blabu, let's get into it then, in terms of policy and how we can also incorporate local knowledge, as Joel is pointing to, in your work, because each time, as I was pointing out, the displacement happens, everyone comes running to you.
Thank you for the question. Now, this is the thing. When you come to Keta, as I said earlier on, Keta is very vulnerable. And our people have witnessed the rough of the sea for so long a time. So, for instance, anytime there's going to be the rise of the sea, there's going to be tidal waves, about 2-3 days to the time, you see some birds coming from the shore. We call it achali. When you see these birds in their numbers, it means that they have seen something at the top. They have seen that the top has changed. So they are coming out to inform us that something is going to happen. So when our official folks see this, then they know that, hey, something is going to happen. But these days, we are not seeing more of those things because of climate change. So it's very, very important that our policy makers, they should make use of our people because they are living with the thing. They know how the thing behaves. They know everything about it, even when they are sleeping. And you wake them up. What is this? They'll tell you. But sometimes we look at them as being local, that they don't matter. And that's why most of the time, when we go to the top, we make very good policies on paper. When it comes to implementation, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Now, for instance, a lot of people, or myself, we have been saying that the sea should be dredged to fill Keta. During the construction of the sea defense, I learned that they wanted to pump the sand from the sea. But during investigation, they realized that the sand at Keta here is behaving like a living particle. That the sand is not at one place, but it's rather moving to other directions, which means that when they dug the hole, the other sand will come and fill it. Right. So because of that, that's the reason why they moved down to the lagoon to pump the sand from the lagoon to fill up these places. So it's very important that a very strong engineering work should be done in collaboration with the local people, and the problem for Keta will be the thing of the past.
And God knows that's a very critical point. Just before I go to Selassie, and Selassie, I'll come to you shortly, so we hear from the community experiences. I want to start off with Divine, because this point that God knows is raising about lack of involvement of the indigenes appears to be, setting us back. So what are some of the challenges, would you say, that, all of these implementers of the policies face when they want to, indulge cultural concerns while implementing national projects?
Thank you. I'll raise 2 points on this issue because you brought in this traditional matter. There's one thing I want us all to know, that our great-grandfathers are elders of wisdom. When the white men were not here, we were able to manage ourselves. But today, when you say something of that nature, somebody will rubbish it. Let me give you one example. When the Great Lakes wanted to do this sea defense work, I was greatly involved. I have the pictures. After this, I'll show you. Yes. This is the first port of Keta. The first port. Yeah. Yeah. Show the first one. That is the port of Keta. Secondly, the second one is the wood sort of sea defense they did in Keta. Then the third one is the iron one. What I'm trying to say is, the locals, the only thing we can do is to advise. For example, if you want to enter my house, you have to ask me, what are the laws of the land or your house? Great Lakes, when they were coming, they called us several meetings. They told us what is going to happen. So when they started this project, you don't see any agitation in Keta. That is what I want every community along the shore, whoever is going to do that, to engage the community, because they know what is going to happen. Let me give you the last example and then say a few words. When they were doing some project in Keta, at KG there. I have the picture there. One of the machines there was doing some job there. It got stuck because before they started the job there at KG, the chief priest was telling them, this land belongs to them. Just give us some small money and drinks so that we will pour libation to our God so that they will allow you for the job to go on. But they took it as a joke. They started the job. When they reached that very point, the whole machine sank there. I have the picture there. Gary Shark, who was the leader of the team, has to run to South Africa. Stayed there for about 2 weeks, came back, and we had a meeting. Then he said, oh, chiefs, elders, I'm now ready to do whatever you want me to do. He provided drinks, he provided money. The following day, when they went there, they sparked the machine as it was a magic. The machine just rise up. So the communities, our communities are very important. They should engage the communities in whatever they are doing. Let me add this one. When we are saying this thing, when we are here today, I called the assemblyman of Agavaji, who was my friend. Right. I had wanted him to sit in this meeting, learn from us. Because without the community, you can be the assemblyman, you can be the MC, you can be the MP. We, the elders, know the culture and tradition of our place. Thank you.
And on that note, let me get back to you, Selassie, to just break that down. And then you would get the concerns from the community as well. Yes, let's get to it.
Abaleke ko jadodo no ji mena nya ajababa ka anfola wo adejeshi vaviento atsamao aleka na wole afi achafua ava ajama gbagba ekaba apato divine ajokoto nya meka na adejeshi lawo pa davima no yi aleka na achafua ava na amamakla imaka womlonyi da abaji azan kaka wakpo abafada ta achobo ka anyefa ye ya dono asavivi kaka imakaba ovacho ba ya dashie goma fun ova kwa ba awo achie ahohoma na yo kaka vondito hanye ba imakaba chafwa vavam remaya ava de ka sobo ikawe ba akra ava akha apotro anu tamatenwu o mate choga go ha anumaka aida abohugo imakaba wodada go ha ma anonyo nanamai achafwa pofudo na ma akoko anoima na maka ha apato ikana anyamnyapa nadmo director adajeshe va viento ale ikana nanyaba nuya ojo onona ye wo fa konyi va vien kuda ale ikako nanyaba ngogbato wojiba yewa ahangudodo akovina achafu da makla climate change ba anyayewa amayo kana nya duamato amayo kana nya dumavio amayo kana woli plachafwa yenu ya fudamnao nkuma opa adangu to matangwa khone adamawa adajashe anna kodangu ba la kodangu ma acha adangu domatora kai kana nonyi kaba yo koda jashe na nya ba chafwa kokogra enya iba havio kana me na ba challenge pla ato owopoga wa dovago tatarataza kaka vivia la climate change alo kama pa totopa wona onwa o gaba havima o ha magatangu okpogo gaka adangu lito afado ikana alihiba wola miapa ngogbato alo duma machichi o shi nanya ba ngogbato tentada onua oho ku akpada hu allahamama afato jo de kanya mekana adaja sheba agba jojo mangunya yenya kai na nia koko anu rome ikabala kama ma adaja sheba ai makaba nyato yogo ha na va fia goji aba apalofa tonda oso ikana ava yenye ya onyamo yokana wo afongunya da adari engunya mawa wo wodo ramayi ye mokpokpo liba waga wodo egba ha gaka nwi kana afuda menye ba nyapa ngokweto va viento nya dungono lawa wo ye ove wo sawo dari onya asal nyo ikaba adajashi wa manyia do songo ha gaka mblanito ya asamawa wo matangu ahonu yokana anya adancho mionto miagbo akoko adama hafi da sama ogo ayata ovanya asaunyo la agbalajipe gakra nanyaba na kweva fi gojia Matinda va wana dotututu la podang ma ako kata ikana miela ko podang wi. Ata jashieba nanya ba nyelan kuda kata pa fi goji kaba mia ala. Anya aka fucha patapa. Ata nanya ba naba ya ahamona achafwa dede. Yenda ba ekpalom akokomda achafwa ngu abale kana mia pone na. Matangwa doga tututu abale kana wo dola tafa bubu ade no. Ikabananya ba wo donu de ha. Ka nguno mashi kana nya ekra ikana jojoma na nguto maviawa. Wonya hayo kana na hohomla oshi. Yata la kwadang mangui kana tanwa wodo la kata fia goja ye anyaba wa adeka cho chafwa ma akoko ado chafwa pa nkume onya ekpo anonyi. Dakama tanwu ayajina na ma ye nyapa nadmo coordinator ano jashida meba la kama ma yima ka bo we to here o kwaba ekra awabakang bagbe nya mala ta fara ka yata wo matanwo di over adakala amuamaro yata mashiama agbetere ji akonya iba nya azam mionto jafa munya akoko agada amai
yo miata kona selasi. Time now for questions. If you have a question, please come to the middle. The aisle, of course, you'd have the opportunity to ask your question and then share your experiences. Just come to the gentleman at the back, but you can also stand in the aisle and then we'll take your question. Selassie.
Acho atangwa yida afogbo afumulo alona acho akwa biabia ola fia subo ikabamia ajagomamia ahwa magbanto aka
Only some consents in front. I think we can start with our traditional rulers, so we get their consents. Yes.
Yo, MC. Tokyo Mama, Nyafa German Embassy, Pamadodo, Nyafa Joy FM for Dola Katan Lafia. Macho mon popoya adak panami alabe keta fanyai obana do nyajanya abutawe glode keta fanyai nyoha ojimila keta abalaya nyafo kojo baba agblena nojio de keta na ko fo bladran kwa ke oha akpunta fala keta po anyo keta nyafo kojo baba pakla novio katon glo alama pifia adanke nyejibamnya aho yenyeba kata ye ovafo kata ya ovado kaji obo yokpo kaji ova oba kafata ya fia kata ke konya gbaja nya jila ovafo nkejo no nya jila ogbonyare na miata hwedamu la boba fuanto ejo chafuanto ejo de kadarijo bere kaga bavaga afi odo chafu na mia mikata mi kpotefa imama blobana ko fa bladran la fia godia nyanwe jo le kata ba chafu apa madeda he o mi o mi kpo mo nya he o gbo na mi o ye nya ba chafu ofa I chafu amadema o chufufu de ka kotokuma Oko ajachafa dodo gome masana na ko ocho gapo ve evatu chafu do ko nga gapo nke miata wo fifi afia chichafu afa amadede hu ye major de global ajebo ga de ke achafu ama aga tu achafu a nye kpotefa de Togo le Benin nye di chamie yi nye plomo ve afia goji gada jidudu fa tato bo bono kpede miang alo de mon ami kono na gbalami nya klodo love nya kpo ba ma mi onto mia we aboli be odaga joma bo ba lek wotem nya onuma nya experiment onyo ha aka gbede kero kuma chimon kpo pa ada pe na join bo yo va fifia boble dogo mala fifia o khonami okpede miang amio la ready fifia ba yoko machine supply move yo dara cha kwaji kwanu katum da katana mi popo adanyigba agbado fa ton plein nyak pe la nyaka kponyigba kemyawe
Kenya bia nya ba bonemi o wom la fiagba bonemi o wom la fiagba ni metio mia pa hyanyo ko dare tajino de fiki o la laganami apa.
But basically, our chief is just talking about local interventions and also speaking about the fact that if you are 70 and above, you'll recall some of the interventions that have been done over the years, but they've not been sustainable, including the one Divine was pointing to and giving us a picture to prove. And beyond that, they've gone to neighboring Togo to learn some of the best practices and how the interventions there have helped. But we seem to still have that challenge persisting in our community. So he's inquiring about what measures we can actually take to sustainably deal with the concerns. But let's hear some more community concerns. Please introduce yourself, tell us your name, where you're from, and then you can share your concerns with us.
I am Reverend Herbert Nuokbo. I grew up together with Kojo Baba in the Keta Hagbanu Premier Enclave. And the story he told is my story about sea erosion. I saw it all together with Togbi. We all saw it, how it happened. So we know what we are talking about when we are talking about sea erosion in Keta. One thing I have realized is that I've watched a certain pattern, rather. I've watched a certain pattern. My friends on the stage, they have said certain things, especially Joel, Deg, and then Kojo Baba. All that they have said are true. I just want to add a little. Keta is in geography, Keta is called a sand spit, meaning that the sea carries sediment in a process that is called longshore drift. It carries sediment, in this case, sand. When it is
and please be snappy so that we can take some more questions as well. So be mindful of the time, yes.
So when it hits a headland or a curve in the contours of the land, that is the topography of the land. When it hits what is called a headland or a cove, it drops the sediments. So the best thing to be done is to create something like a cove, which is the land jutting into the sea, or a bay, the land jutting into the sea by dredging of sand. Now, by the currents and waves, sand is carried from north to south here. So when that is done, what will happen is that when it hits that place, it will drop the sand, and then a land bar will be formed behind. So I also want to suggest that at another time we will have time to discuss this in depth.
Indeed.
I mean, for a whole day we can keep discussing this thing until we find a place of agreement among all of us, and then they can carry on the project from there.
And that's an indication that, of course, climate talk will happen even within our smaller sects. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Yes. Please introduce yourself, your name, and where you are from.
Ketaji ko jago mochuya. Nuka we ko be achia koko wanyigban. Ba yina toji. Lemi eda achia jia. Lemi do kokoma de. Mi onto mi ba aboblaton, aboblandre. Na ida tapa ma okwa. Akpoga ba apugon fo juo katan o magaje na. Afi na akpoa ka akpojo janyigban. Buroba nyigban. Nyagbo fi ya wa meje na. Ikena fia ba le chojoma anyigba ya elo tome wu achapua fifia nenya ba anyigba le tome vo wu achapua imi ga ba anyigba ku bena ba pa ko pa achapua de edonyo omiela Evelia, anyangwi, chofmo kata ova, oho leme. If you look at them, eva lo blagusu. Do sala kopa, if you agba na nyagbo danu. Amachishi on fuma nyimachi. Kama jeshi doctor la katana bagangwa. Let me go and have a gang abo my year. Me to my mashikapa moji mododo nye. You have me could have been kuponano. Ale tapoma ochode, kata jode, salakopa, adina, agoko, adafian, danu aplau, or how mala juyama woha. Nella made, dodoka mia, biaba tato na wo. Bayim ya kata tablema, a jumamlewa, mia lauda taba, the never a fugong dodo, ye jwa okmama. But I want me la yima ma gagbeo.
Okay.
Mamleto. Nanyeba anyigba koko uchafua. Achafua koko wa anyigba. Kanya ma glore vitobe. Kami kuchafua me. Mi ava koko ra anyigba. Kono akpere mi anchiba chafua na itome. Anyigba na baji. Akpe.
Okay. Nya de malama divine me na de malama na your response to that one. Mia ko mapoku.
Oh number Ojiba mado nyamang. Anyama fonya glo. Elema nenema. Kakaba lema glomana. Bubuto Soga, Honorable Soga. The best thing for us to do is to go scientific. The reason for saying this is
question about Bomola.
I wait time I go global. Ejabemya ko jojo mawunya lao. Akodonya enwenya ba. Miato bi won le amagbe no bo jagba bu manya wo kakai Great Lakes va study nwa so nwa we to e ma yo do chapo ala mi pa ya ba kale be na le ka gajore Keta in particular dio kayava manya si roshino ya Tiger West ko va ta anjo be enye fonya glo adoya apo Joy Prime. Mais viens-toi, nous avons vu ce gars là, nous avons vu
okay, okay, yes, God knows, yes.
Maraku.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, Maraku. Anuda kama jibama aglosh ka fonya aglo yamba. So me for the vi mami no samba over Keta is below sea level. La aika wabu miapa floodgater la 2021 aika survey over ojiji anyigba ope de yesheba anyama malamaba chafua akoko wa anyigba ni ikola nu nyamba Keta anyigba akovie aba afọ eton ana ukata nu mai weba na wanyaba afwa jagbovie ko kakobu anyigba kakela chafwa janyila makowa anyigba numwe weba ayika ohu flageta achiatanshi ayira chafwa ma na wanyaba afwa fa anyigba ro kokowu Keta agba mega afia nogo abavalia abiaba kan Keta e olaba afwa ro Keta kodam Anugbato nyamba Keta fa anyigba anya anyigba ika malavio apakwara kamalamo akara anyikora kamalamo agbara kamalajio aya weba na wanyaba afwa jagovie kwa iko lona miranho kono yime abagbaruro ne
Okay. Joel, you want to add anything briefly?
So basically this is I'm a geographer by training.
Right.
So I know and the rate at which all this occur depends upon the geology of the coast. So ours here is the sandy coast. We have the rocky coast. We have the rocky coast around Senya Brekum and others. So what is there is somebody mentioned it earlier, the transport of sediment. The sea itself, when we see the sea like this, we see the surface. We don't know what is under. It carries a lot of sediment. Sand, gravel, pebbles, stone, and everything. And where the rate and the topography decides, then it drops them. It accumulates there. Right. Another thing may occur, and it will transport it again from where it deposited it. And we have what we now call sediment budget. I think this is the first time I want to mention it. The River Volta, before 1962 to 65, when they did Akosobo Dam, used to bring over 71 million metric cube of sand into the sea. Get it again. Before the Akosombo Dam, River Volta from Bobodiola, so Burkina Faso, and all the other branches carry sediment over 71 million metric cube and deposit it in a dam estuary. And the longshore wave used it to build our coast here. But since they built the dam and commissioned it in 1965, the river is bringing only 7 million metric cube of sand. So what we call the sediment budget is now reduced.
And that's what perhaps we have to show up. And that's what has
compounded our situation here. So I want to put it scientifically on record.
Right.
If you keep lowering what is already here, the budget will be more negative, and the sea is going to affect us. Sure. Let's beware. I don't want to mention the thing I was trying to avoid.
Okay, please introduce yourself, where you're coming from, and let's hear it.
Thomas Dagbakbono.
Yo, Weasel.
Mia Dakbana, Mia I'm a Bakbocho Chema, but Tobio, the Miapa Detino Nota. Ochim the Kaji, Soku. Eka Machichiana Puma, Togbi James Okruno, Chito, Manofima, 1970, Manofima, you were Tina Nyo. Kaka, Chapu Pama de Dria, Ava Weber, Agbanam Yamaromi, Fatioba, Amadrumia, Awamanya Madrumino. Machima Mabia, but Mahabo, he go to 1967. O akpakpakpa ma ya okata o lokore chapu mare afike chima oyi la mionton mia fa nkpokpom chinwa na engineer over o dollar tema roasted mia fa nyigba nwia ajabo ku adam pa achafu ma wo bu adachi na so gakopa agba so gakopa na nya agbarifa afi okona mama mia fa kana dikoma abaleka mia fo gbonba river pota pa ngongo akakpakpa me ha o loko be chapuma akamawa chapu adamre mia fa anyigba le mia fa chapu amacho afia kata zukagba eye afalia atoro o denwa achapu mato atoma na ikaba atomo myemyema achapu na ajim we go near war. I feel put an nearby. I can't watch a walk kuma. No kuma over. Then you need a dodgy, Africa, a go glow, chapua, chiako, no, banana, Sara Kamalamo, Kaka go tafia. Then you a chapua back, Naroki, Alaka, or yet a pa, Aniba, a back of coming 5 feet. Nipa Coco, a chapua 5 feet. La gomama ya kuchafu amaba ya kpogboje na mia panka agbanano
yo apa
ba mia jida mia fugon noro gbo a chafu amia dam pepepe kakami ba mi la tapama awe ba na nafa mu yo kata roko ngban mia ba kashino mo o kata o do magban
yo afo kam mia ba kama
da odo a chapa na mi lo
yo apa Xavier, you might want to be on their side so we get everything in shape. Please introduce yourself, where you're coming from. Yes.
My name is James Oklu Akoli. The sea erosion started around 1903 to 1907, around that years. From the fort, Prisenstein, to the sea in those days was about 4 to 5 miles away. The erosion started by destroying the Germans' plantations. And in 1920, it destroyed warehouses, John Holt, Bartholomew. In 1950, it also destroyed the road network in the Keta community. 1980, it got near the fort and destroyed part of the fort, London Park, Keta AME Zion School, the Bremen Missionary School in Keta. And then in 1960, there was a defense war. They used spices, iron bars, but it couldn't help. It continued up to 2000 when Keta State Defense War started. Our great-grandfathers made effort by putting sand in the bags. Some make sacrifice with cows, and some attribute it to the slave trade that goes on in the Keta fort. And they make a lot of sacrifice in those days, but it couldn't help. So in 2000, there was a Keta State Defense War. They construct 7 headline groins and revetment. Although you cannot challenge nature, but for now, we are safe. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
My name is David Tizienyo Kotoku. I'm a graduate of geological engineering, and I stay in Keta. I'm interested in knowing how we can blend science and local knowledge to develop the Keta Sea Resilience Program. And we are aware that in Ghana and many parts of Africa, coastal erosion and climate-induced sea level rise continue to threaten livelihoods. So while modern engineering offers one path for the solution, rooted in environmental harmony, also hold updated values. In your experience, I'm asking the questions to the speakers.
Based on experience, okay.
Yes, please. Right. So in their experience, what are some of the effective ways, aside dredging the sea, that we can use to solve the solution, to sustain the community and social lives can still continue? Yeah. Would they share some of examples where these things has been done and it has been sustainable and fusion, environmental free?
That's a very crucial question. Alternatives, yeah. So let's take note of that. We'll address that shortly. David Maraku Wonko.
Maraku kwenye patients atichobi. Maraku ye nyatonya chokwi kunya abale divide jokoto kule na. Ayo nya ogboma moto shi nya nwo pofu pape kemi pana na chaku to ma moto she jina mi o. Agoma pie pe na ba mi nyo na chaku odo ma wom na ma. Ami pana fo ala ka gbagba. Na mi apa biji awo ma akula na fofu na ba jivi na gbo. Oho makata yok plechi. Afike na vidi poga ako amule abamalio. Afi revi ogbo. Ochochu ogbo anu orun afi na no adojo. Aranguno melio. Echi nyinya no melio. Mi ekpana fo ala ka gbagba ako gagba ayi kekeke jerupo police station. Afi ave kuchira karata atofo kekeke akogbe ba pami enye nyonwo ba fu papa ala ka gbagba. Ta ma kukura ba nanya ba wo ba ko chapo gbona bia orun ku mi nyonwo haji opopona mi tohe.
Yo apa. Yo afuna wo bona na mi ava ngogwa.
Okay, Blessed, thank you very much for the opportunity. Marakun Konyenya Solomon Wise, Agbolosu Mensa, Macho Agavaji, Pelakaji Agotalafi. Blessed, but it's a submission, it's not a question. Majiba Makboloba, Miela Nanala Yavubama, the hydrological system of the world. Shikanya Atohu Katapa, Afi Atohu Jocho. Now, atohu jojoma ufu nanukla unonu. Atohu katanko ufu nanukla unonu. Now, nuika mia teng agbatam rejiwenya ba le local knowledge ma. Fifila ya afi amido na hama fia local knowledge ashikohoda kamagala local knowledge when it comes to sea defense, stuff like that. Though. It is purely scientific. Now, blessed, lenya tepatutuma nakpo miafa kata koide katu sauta. Kuheana letepa kuenya ba le 61 via 65 abaleka afo Joel blena. Otu akosombo dam. Ta akosombo dam ayo ni otu ya atohuji otu do on the Volta Lake. Ta yo nyaba otu da tohuji ya. Enna ba pressure ba do the eastern geomorphic section of the coastline aji. Chika a harbor kata pele katu south kata. Ta yo jonena ma. Enna ba a dagba de miafa achafu aji la fia kata koyi. Ta awon na mata anaba achafu ba je kata de ta akosombo damia wotua ipa effect le mianji ya enya kata fa achafu de so yo jonana ma ajaba over make sure ba you prevent the inundation and the sea erosion from kata ta yaukos kata sea defense project ave blessed lenya ta fatutuma ha kata sea defense project ayokwevia kata ko kwevi now yo tuya at the kata sea defense erosion amaganoji imu kakanuke jo after the project another project ya la fia la kata aga dagbade blakusu hovi koide aflawu GA. So that is the problem. For Joel Global, we have to manage the problem with nature. And gakokwere nu ha blessed lenya tepatotoma nyafa sawatak pakpama ma pakpamre miano. There must be a legal framework to establish a coastal management center, which can actually go into more research to make sure the coastal process is yokata journal so that we will not leave a legacy problem for the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Let me over. Selassie, then you wrap it up. We have just some few minutes. Marakuyo.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
My name is Mama Tokomi. I'm taking this opportunity to thank the Joy News and the German as well to come to listen to our cry. What I wanted to say is, they say climate change, climate change. What is climate change? You see, we are here. We need to know the reason why we are here, not me alone. In fact, I'll be very grateful if you can break those things down a little for the people here to know understand what climate change is.
Right. Okay.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And Joel, you might want to do that for us. Just do that briefly at once, then I come to Selassie to just take some few more questions, then we wrap up. So Joel, just address that, break it down for our people, both in English and in Ewe, so that they can really understand. Yeah.
Okay. Mama, akwe no bia bia rokoma yigete anu make climate ya jingoli ya ba mororo e pe blaton ire blana no soin no le no dari gbe shagbe to mi be weather e chija ndovu ahunja blizzard or haze aleko nyabe yamaru omo gbe shagba e mi one be weather no le gbato dari le koshiri ato dari le jinu ato dari le pegbato dari pe wi atonto dari pe blaton don dari ya yo pona ni anye climate of a certain geographic area egba ne mi be climate change ara ko fia bana jingoli aba mororo e ya popo ya ndo huwu ya e chi jaje ya yo le dari pe gbogbo ofifi ya to trova ma wo le ale ono before we enter this century tata na le na mako e je le hi ha ma fia katamba du ko katan kunu ya le oba hi ha me jingoli a romo palo fara kakle jivo va ya egba eto vovo na le oleta yamatro the climate has changed. I want to link it directly.
Right.
Indigenous traditional knowledge is irrelevant today. Go to China, go to India, go to Bangladesh, go to other places. So I want to tell Blaise wisdom.
Yeah.
Agbolosu that is irrelevant.
Indeed.
We are not
we're running out of time.
Giving it that relevance in our literature. Thank you.
Selassie, so briefly explain, we have just about 2 minutes to spare with the questions. So let's do that together with the questions, and then I'll give the final words to our panelists there. So let's be fast about it.
Agada from Agojia, Togbi, Alan Obajiba, Yaglunya Kuyade, Rakumia Zonda Dikwa. Aho, Togbi.
Akpa, I'm grateful for this opportunity. What I want to say is this. Addressing the destruction of the sea at Keta can only work with combination of both the scientific method and the indigenous wisdom. And then I also wanted to correct a few things. The issue is this. Our forefathers, prior to the independence of Gold Coast to Ghana, have had properly documented knowledge about the sea destruction and what should be done. The sea, prior to 1901, research has shown that, or history reckons that, the sea has accreted about 600 feet of sand between the seashore and the forts, Keta forts. But little after 1901, the sea consumed that amount of sand and began to consume beyond it. Then our forefathers started worrying, and they started consulting or approaching the colonial masters or the colonial government, except that they have negligently decided to ignore Keta. Until somewhere around 1902, it became severe. That even in 1903, I think it was 1901, the Gold Coast Chronicle published about the destruction of the sea in 1901. Then in 1903, the Gold Coast Leader, it's also a publication house, also published the destruction of the sea. So it will interest you to know that as far back that time, our forefathers know what will happen, until it became worse in 1907. Initially, they were associating it with some amount of superstition and moral ecology. Until 1907, the colonial government decided to pay attention to it. And then they realized that it is something beyond our superstition. Then somewhere around 1928, they engaged a London-based engineering firm led by Coop and Michel. So they came up with research and gave it to government, except that government have decided to. And even prior to the groin made by the PAL, there were groin made by woods and palm trees.
I see.
But the sea has taken it. So the point is this. Discussions such as this is okay. It has exposed us to the reality. But then there is a need to have a roundtable discussion that will involve experts in both scientific and indigenous knowledge, where details can be discussed. We look for the historical antecedent, we look for the books, the document, and then we come out to a conclusion on what actually to be done. Other than that, there will be back and forth, and then before we realize, there will be another distraction.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Selassie, because of time, so let's just wrap it up in Ebe, and then I give the final word to my panelists, and then we can call it a day.
Blessed, Gaka hafi no magada fuma majiba maga akomon kwako miada jeshi amakpekpe miapo fia yokona alamia adoma ekaba togbi James Okulu atonlia nya dufia la kacha ala miadomi togbi gachi ko nalia achojalo kopa hanua Kenneth bina choabucha kopa ya ala miadomi mama Tokomi acho anyako mama Dasowa avalia cho jalo kopa togbi lamanya godza ala miadomi mama fia the MC na kacha bubuto wisdom sada ala miadomi assembly mailao vovola miadomi afigoji na makenya afufiao onha wo ala miadomi kuye kwa nyayo kana akpaganto kana nyabiabia over enya iba yowabia na marakabia ba la achafu pa kukunya ya glomia la de anya kai kana yo jeshi da mebe wo boglomba nyafanyi ba abobo chowu achafu ala kama mare waga nyoba waga ida kuga kaka ngogbato.
Okay, if it's also possible, maybe 30 seconds or a minute for the MC, and then yeah, probably so we hear from him, whilst we wrap up. Apologies to those standing. Yes. Yes, and then we'll also hear about the policy interventions because you are here as the MCE as well. So thank you, and you're welcome, sir.
I think I am very grateful for a program like this so that you get a local context into trying to solve the problem. I believe at the end of this conversation, we will be able to establish one solution point that we can all use that to solve our problem. But again, I'm believing that the conversation should be in two-way direction. Whilst we, the locals, we are trying to give the input, we look at what the external or those who are professionals, the experts, are also telling us. I know, of course, that we will have so much to say because we have experienced this for years. But also, the way we are using the beaches, we should also be mindful of that. There has to be advice from the experts as to how we can preserve the beaches. We are talking about sand winning and also building at the beaches. There has to be a buffer that we should respect while we try to develop structures at the beaches. So I believe we as locals from Keta, we need help. And one sure way, there has been a sea defense constructed. It has solved the problem to some extent. We will say or stress that we should more sea defense to protect the coastal
and since we need to go, the president has given his directive for the construction to continue.
Yes.
You are the MCE of the area. How soon will that resume?
I think the contractor is aside now for the Gaveji side. Today, from here, we are all moving to Gaveji. The regional minister will be there, myself and all other people to start the second phase of the sea defense at Gaveji. I think the surest way to solving the problem is the sea defense for now, that we can see. So we are pleading to the government, just as the government has promised and they are starting, we should look at the sea defense stretching from Aflawu through to the end to protect the coastal line.
All right. Thank you so much. Selassie, we are running out of time. Our chiefs want to make some intervention. So let's take maybe 2 questions quickly. Just be brief with the questions. Then we come forward, take the concerns of our traditional rulers, and then we can wrap up.
La Gisano of Fima, Aleha, Ododan, about Dagbara, Rajapakbaji, Tambi Pomba, Nanyaba Oboto Chapo, Adabo Vasizam, Abalam Kurata Pau Fine, Afi Otogoma, Alaba Rajapa, Odi, Oko, Abago, Retropotong, Fiamba Chishagata, Dadora Jifo. Akbar kamu ngabago.
Yo.
Akbar.
Yeah.
Akbar. Nkwanye Simon souvent. Bacho aflau fiepre. Nya rangdodo piare mama dakpe na nyino pakata. Oba amagede tokyo mama okato poncho tap dodoang ale yo di chao be ko dodo le beni. Nyanto mano benia pegede o todo la fima. Imagala benia fifila ha. Ale manoya fi no chapwa dom. Uno kakum akukua anje donya do wo chapwa enne konyu e fan. Akale magbe a mi kpo ba chapwa aga tetemva. Anye be nyedo abe June July o me aga no kwarum aga tetemva. Ale be fifila fi a o ga ndodo jimne. Ale yo we a o ga e ndodo jim do ko je ma apotoro na chichia o be ale yo we.
Okay.
wanyo shekalalia wadan glechong laliu.
So let's come forward and then take traditional authorities. Because of time, we need to wrap up. Yes.
Ago, ayo tapi kacik kau nari ato jalu kau pe. Nusora galo gula pe. Kenapa dodo kata gomsesar maka tahu gomsesar apa seru. Capu pe kau punya fiamile fia. Oba nukai na capu kata dong. Leke niawe. Manya kata fia tu nanti pote macam pelakop. Amo atau fia pasal kakak berkusu amonya. Capu dah. Fia kata. Dah no kata gua nggak cok boh madekai. So kamar gua nyakako gua mele. Ale niawe tu capu aku nyebe. No toh di nyebe. Acam nyato berkata wana rekamali nami tahu dan odo berato nukaka kwa bosasama. Bokotanu takpie ko nyama jiba fia nyaru ko jiba obado tapo nami so bela siebe ala ka odo nyami to odi oboko to odi ati kai han odo oko adua nyese go ma nyese be tapo ko adua tani mi to odo ba de tapo ko ba do ko Chapa mi adeko kola. Ye mo ko ba oba do chapa na mi ro.
Blessed.
And yes, right.
Daga yi ta nya acho bia bia kula ato da fa ka kpi nya ko kloma mia da tola nya iba. Ahia ba wa ado chapa ga ka vavale nya iba. Ahia ba miau to mia ko to mia padang hana gadama. Oma vakata akpokle vakata ya nyino ga dengle gbofi wa atengu aiji le miapa wana oma.
Savior Selassie Amenyaji with Jubilee Radio. Please a round of applause for Savior as well for doing a great job. Basically the concern is about the sea level, and of course God knows has been educating us on that in terms of the facts, the area is not below sea level. It's actually 3 feet, as you're saying, above sea level. Okay, so let's wrap up then. Because we've had so many insights, Divine, your marching orders, because you'll be mobilizing the community to take more climate actions in the coming days. What would you want to leave us with briefly? Just 30 seconds as we wrap up.
I would like to say this in our mother language, because it's a controversial thing I'm going to say. I'm getting confused here. People are saying it's because of Tema Harbor that the ravages of the sea became rougher than before. Our mothers are there. They know that song. The Mahaboy, a Hamaugia, and number near Bubumba, the Mahabo, Odoye, Agba, Magasamafia, Oba Kosumbo, a Toha, a Kama Dodomo, Ta Ia element, Keta Bagbam, Ayiga, Unkuana Fianga, climate change. Ian Blum, Kay Kamadiba Magloka, Kama blogger, save your Selassie Lafma. But you better take it from here. I got the Jambo, but Kakumo Laputa, Ialema, Kenya Cassia, Miadeto, Akpadami.
Okay, yeah, so God knows your concluding remarks, and then we'll wrap up with Joel. Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity. In the first place, I want to say that I'm now outgoing director for Keta Municipal. A new person has been appointed to take over from me, in a person of Mr. Wisdom Sachofia, and he's here with us this afternoon. Now, as far as I am concerned with the issues of Keta, the first thing that I would like to be done is that there should be a dredging and a reclamation of land for people of Keta. The second thing is that there should be a construction of a fishing harbor for the people of Keta. This is the only way that our fisher folks can also sustain their livelihood. It's very paramount for me. And also, there should be a floodgate. There should be a floodgate with a mind that any time that the sea gets rough, that floodgate can be open. As far as it's being open, the sea can go into the lagoon to reduce the current of the sea. This will make it that it will not erode the coastal areas. Another thing that I would also like to do is that there should be some sort of vegetation at the beach so that it will hold the ground firmly. No matter how the sea comes, at least if you're supposed to take 1,000 volumes of sand, it should reduce it to 500.
Right.
Thank you so much.
And you might want to hand over the mic so we hear from Joel as well as we wrap up.
Thank you very much. The point is this. There is a multiplicity of factors affecting the coast east of the Volta estuary. The literature in Togo and Benin, who have visited this university a number of times, blame the Tema Harbor and the Akosombo Dam. The literature in Togo and Benin, that's what they found. Now, number two, somebody asked, what is the most effective way? A hybrid system, the hard and the soft, or the gray and the green, nature-based solutions. So we must blend them. I don't have time to explain more, but we can also adopt the polder strategy that Netherlands used to reclaim land from the sea. Now, the last thing is WACA, West African Coastal Areas Resilient Investment Project. Is doing a comprehensive study along the entire coast, from Puveme down to Aplau. This is scientifically based. If they come out with the report, we're going to see the best solution of protecting the coast east of the estuary. Thank you very much.
Indeed. And we're grateful to all our panelists. Please, let's give it up for them one more time as we wrap up. To Joel, to Divine, and to you, God knows. And that's how we draw the curtains on Climate Talks, proudly supported by the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany in Ghana. Grateful to you, Francisca, and the team as we wrap up. I have a tall order of acknowledgements to do as we wrap up. We have the traditional authorities of Anglo and Keta Traditional Council. We also have some government offices and political office holders supporting us. You just heard from the MC for the area, Mr. Nicholas Kobla Woklachi, also explaining to us what interventions are being made. We are grateful to the office of the MP, Kwame Jolly Gakpe, and the Honorable James Gunuz, the Volta Regional Minister. International partners, obviously we can't leave out the German Embassy, represented here by Francisca Jebens, Head of Development Cooperation at the German Embassy. Grateful to you, Francisca. Also grateful to the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, the Climate and Development Knowledge Network. They are also represented here. And I see also that there are some political institutions joining this. Assembly members of Keta South District, district coordinators of the Environmental Protection Authority, EPA. We have district and municipal NADMO coordinators, Information Service Department within Keta Municipality, quite a tall order as I read them. Then we have the climate focused NGOs in Keta Municipality. Jubilee Radio, we are grateful to you and the team for doing a great job and having us live on air. The principal, teachers and students of Keji Technical Training Institute, trade and industry groups. We have the Fisher Folk and also the Ghana National Canoe Fishermen Council also joining us. Then we have various community groups and the hotels and hospitality associations within the Keta municipality. So if you are also as delighted as I am, Selassie, let me give you